Yeah, Tom. So a couple of things. One, we saw President Trump introduced his budget again for the next year, even though we're just wrapping up the current one. And again, it's got deep cuts to programs that people actually count on. A big buildup on the military side. But bottom line is, you look at what they did last year with their tax cut bill, what they're doing now with this proposed budget. I mean, this is just a continued attack on working Americans and money transferring up to the top 1% and 2%. You hope people are following it closely, but when without going into all the details of the numbers, because it's very similar to the original budget proposed last time by President Trump as far as cuts to real programs, it's just disheartening to see that, they create a hole in the deficit and now they want to pay for it with programs that people actually use and benefit from, including things like Medicare and Medicaid. Second, I think really great news on a political front. We saw another special election just yesterday. Now the 36th state legislative seat to flip from red to blue in the last year since President Trump got elected. And again, another district that was a Republican district. Trump won it. We picked it up. Just this kind of across the country continuation of people on our side getting out to vote, caring about what's going on, and their side not energized because even they're not inspired by what he's doing, again, because it's for the top 1% and 2%. So I think that's real significant and should be really uplifting information for anyone who cares about looking at November. And then just a story of the odd, I guess, more than anything else. But I think, again, it shows where the administration's going was their idea to try to replace food stamps with food boxes, kind of like, I guess, Blue Apron is a company that if you have enough money, you can be sent ingredients to cook. They want to do the same thing for people who need food assistance, but of course you're not going to get anything especially healthy or fresh meats or anything like that because it's going to be a box they would send you. I don't think this idea is going to go very far, I'm hoping, but it just shows the disdain that comes out of this administration for people who are just struggling, trying to get by. And unless you're in the top 1%, unless you have a chance of being a member of Mar-a-Lago, you're probably not on their agenda.
Yeah, it seems like it's a variation on let them eat cake. What about people, they're saying, oh, yeah, we'll send people peanut butter. Well, what about people who have peanut allergies,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like,
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's worse than ridiculous. It's, we'll send them our surplus, we'll throw them the dregs.
Yeah, and Tom, I think it was my first or second year up here, I went on a challenge, and for a week I lived on the SNAP benefits, which was about $31.50 a week. Now it's down to like $28 or something a week. It's actually gone down in real time, the actual dollars, and going forward with all the inflation that's there. And it was tough. I mean, I bought a bag of oranges. That was 20% of my budget. I mean, by the time I was buying peanut butter, ramen noodle soup, and I was hungry every day and barely got by on that $31.50. So, just the idea that a program that is probably the #1 program to help kids who are living in poverty, and then to now suggest they're going to send you this box of something, it's just, like you said, it's the disdain for the public that this administration has.
Yeah, it's breathtaking. So, Congressman, you want to take calls?
Absolutely.
Okay. Russell in Hickory Hills, Illinois, listening to WCPT. You are on the air with Congressman Mark Pocan.
Hello.
Hello, Russell. What's your question?
Hello. Oh, yeah, Mr. Pocan. Saturday I was watching AM Joy, and they're talking about how we're losing our democracy. Your state came up with your governor, to how he's trying to rig this year's election, that he's trying to sidestep there somehow because he's afraid that the Democrats are going to sweep into power. I mean, let's be honest, the guy running against Tammy Baldwin, his folks are back in Baldwin. Have you heard anything about him trying to rig this year's election in your state?
Well, he already kind of did it. So 2 years ago, they had some new rules that were put in around absentee voting, around photo ID and some other early voting restrictions. But the photo ID provisions in and of themselves, I think it's estimated by a UW study, 44,000 people likely weren't able to vote during that election. So an election where, Donald Trump won by 23,000. Now, to be fair, we had a 200,000 voter drop off on the Democratic side. So, there's a number of factors that probably led to that. But just that one thing alone helped them, wean off 44,000 voters. And now I think what's happening is he's suddenly realizing that, he has done nothing around health care. He didn't take Medicaid expansions. Now he's trying to come up with a health care bill. And I think that's what you're seeing is him just realizing he's in big trouble after giving the largest subsidy any state has given a company, much less a foreign company, on Foxconn, up to now $4.5 billion to create 3,000 jobs.
Good grief.
He knows he's in trouble.
Yeah. That's astonishing.